What? Y'all think I enjoy gearing up with my racquetball equipment when most of the local racquetball courts are still closed due to COVID? Of course not. I miss racquetball. But the story to start off this week's podcast involves racquetball. And I've learned through sad personal experience that most people don't listen when I just talk. I've got to show them. So I'm hoping this will help me get my message across. Last February, just a few weeks before COVID hit, I played in my second official racquetball tournament. Now, I'm a B-League player, but as I walked in that morning, I glanced over at the A players as well as the open division players, which is the top division. The 52nd ranked racquetball player in the country was in my hometown of Springfield, Missouri at this tournament. But the athlete I most remember was a 15-year-old from Iowa and I'm going to call this kid Cheater because I don't remember his real name, but I know he was way too good for being just 15 years old. Therefore, he's a cheater because, like most in society, I don't like when people get real good at stuff that I'm just okay at. So Cheater defeated the best player in Mizzou racquetball's system at that time. And Cheater would later be defeated by the 52nd ranked player in the United States. And it wasn't a close game between Cheater, the 15-year-old superstar, and the 52nd ranked player in the country who would go on to win that tournament. But the fact that it wasn't a complete blowout was still very impressive because Cheater is only going to get stronger with time. And what impressed me most about Cheater was he knew what he was not good at, which was essentially just the ability to really hit the ball as hard as some of the best, more mature racquetball players, as well as just experience. But Cheater played to his strengths. And that's what kept him competitive against some of the better racquetball players in the Midwest. If we play to our strengths, we maximize our chances at being happy and successful. And I'm not going to be bitter that that 15-year-old kid would have beat me 15-0 in racquetball 2 games in a row. I'm not going to be bitter about that. But I will say, if I ever get to play cheater in a game of racquetball, after he's done kicking my ass, I want him in a game of chess. Because I'll return the ass-kicking favor. Play to your strengths. There we go. I'm going to start slowly phasing out the music pieces within my podcast because I'm a little introverted by nature. And my goal is not to be a professional singer, but my goal is to be a professional chess athlete. So I'm going to allocate my time accordingly and not sing so many songs. Which brings us to this chess ass kicking that's about to occur. My surrender flag is ready to go. It will rest there. I mentioned last week I was going to do something to entertain during the open. And I thought of just the perfect task that will keep things flowing without having to distract me from my opening. So what I will do during the opening portion of this chess battle is I am going to narrate every move in the open. And I only give 2 ratings, which is a good move or a bad move. I'm not like chess.com that gives brilliant and I'll show you all the ratings they give. But yeah, they give brilliant, best move, excellent, good, all the way down to missed wins. And I'll let the overcomplicated analysis remain with the computers. So my good narration will be a nice, happy A major chord. And any bad moves up until I castle and the open ends, they will receive an A diminished chord to indicate a bad move. And then I'll start talking again. But right now, we're going to get right into the game. One focus point for this battle. Don't get greedy. I didn't order these surrender flags for no reason. So my focus point is I want to wave this thing, baby. Here we go. Duel. You are from, where are you from? Poland? It's a terrible move, Poland. It's a great move by me, though. Love that move either, man. You're really doing a poor job. Enemy. Great move there. It's perfect. Of course, that's also a bad move. You're full of them. That's a clever move by me, though. Brutal decision by the enemy once again. Fantastic idea by me. It's not forcing check. Maybe you'll get a good move because right now, enemy, you are 0 for 4. I'm unbiased. No. That deserves a diminished chord. Terrible decision once again. Right. Keep that bishop out of there. You will have no access to my g5 square, enemy, which is why I get that happy A major chord. And if the past is any predictor of the future, which it's usually a good one, yep. There's a diminished chord for you because you suck. Love that. Take a backtrack, get that pawn out of there. He should probably take my pawn, but then I've got a few options that I like, so he can go ahead and have my d pawn if he really needs it. This is going to get ugly. Sorry, enemy. Terrible decision. And myself getting that knight safe. I've also got my knight protected there. Yep, you know I do. So terrible decision by you once again. There's your diminished chord. Sorry. There's my major chord, man. I'm 9 for 9. Enemy is 0 for 9. Let's get this castle taken care of. Get this ass kicking in the books. Oh, sorry. Terrible decision, enemy. And gotta love my logic there with the dark square bishop coming out. It's castle time. I guess you could take my bishop. I don't love losing bishops for free. Okay, we'll give you a minor chord. We'll compromise. That was a decent move. But you still suck. We're going to protect our bishop. Great anticipation by me. Castle. Unless enemy wakes up and quits sucking. Okay. That was impulsive enemy, which is why you get a diminished chord. That's why I'll take your horse and give myself a good major chord there. You had the advantage of playing white because you needed it. I'm about to castle. And I'm up a little bit of material already. Uh-oh. I don't know, an enemy was going to be this incompetent. I probably would have just went ahead and went with the standard commentary during the open portion. But as you can see, yep, your queen is out, but you're the enemy, so you get a diminished chord. Just a little bit of bias there, probably. Oh, enemy's thinking bishop comes down, and then if I castle, then his queen would be threatening. Good logic, enemy. Which is why I didn't castle. I'm going to castle queenside now. That's fine. Boom, boom. Okay. Castle, man, you can't. I was trying to put up a little bit of a fight here, but okay. Okay, as you can see, the enemy opened poorly. I believe he scored one minor chord, which means one move that didn't completely suck, and about 13 or 14 diminished chords because my opening was far stronger regardless of that +1 there. And now I'm going to lock in and really just start embarrassing him a little bit. Okay, so enemy's got one attacker there, two attackers there. I've got 3 there. I'm not worried about you there. I think he's wanting to get his bishop active. I'm thinking that's cute. I'm going to chase his rook out. The reason I didn't use my H rook to force enemy queen to make some decisions is, had I used my H rook, then my pawn would have been in jeopardy. And now my pawn is also in jeopardy now because he's got 2 attackers on it. So can you save your pawn there? Bishop. No, man. Okay. Okay. So then, yeah, I mean, he's got double attackers there, but it'd be silly to get too clever here as the enemy going after my H6 pawn because bishop wants to come first. I'll happily allow because he's going to have to do something to get his queen out of harm's way because I'm just going to let that bishop sit in between my rook and enemy queen. So if he wants to move his bishop, if he were to attack on H6, then his queen's going to be in trouble. I'm not talking about the kind of trouble like you go to timeout when you don't listen to your teacher in 2nd grade. Not that kind of trouble. Because at least most 2nd grade teachers, unless they're lunatics, you're not in good shape now. What's going to happen with most 2nd grade teachers? I have my rook, though. I don't want that. With most 2nd grade teachers is they'll be forgiving and just kind of teach you a lesson gently. But in chess, the lessons I teach enemies are life-lasting lessons because I want to help them, which means I have to really make it hurt when they mess up, and an enemy's about to learn what that feels like to really hurt. Okay. And now my rook is in attacking territory, which is where I like my rooks. And I'd love to steal that pawn, which is unprotected by the enemy, but it's protected currently by enemy C4 bishop, which is about to be history. Okay. And Now we're looking at some discovery opportunities. I do believe we discussed discoveries a bit last week's, but I've been practicing discoveries, which is far more important than discussing because, again, knowledge is not power until that knowledge is applied. Oh, and that knowledge is about to get applied on this enemy because the enemy was wanting my rook, which if enemies can get rooks, that's probably a good thing. That the enemy knows that a rook is more valuable than anything but a queen, but as you've found is a pretty frequent occurrence if you watch my podcast, I just read Enemy like a book, and I love reading actual books, but I'm better at reading enemies. So now, unless he does something clever, my rook's probably going to go back there. My bishop is now discovering enemy king, so he has to defend the check. And defending this upcoming discovery check against me is not super challenging. But this is where he'd love to take my rook with enemy queen. That's the problem with discovery checks, baby. He's got to defend it. And I've got a W to solidify. Yep, thank you. Now which one do I want to capture with? We'll go. And we'll go there. We'll be seeing you, bishop. As you'll notice, my voice is a little bit softer than. What are you doing? It's a terrible choice. You did nothing for yourself there, dude. Nothing. But my voice is softer for this week's podcast. One, because I have no vocal training, and I also like to sing a lot, which causes problems for me because it just leads to a sore throat a little bit. And the other is I really am getting a little power hungry as I continue to see my chess progress climb. And I'm hoping that if I'm a little less vocal, that'll calm me down and bring me back to earth a little bit. Because I know it would be reasonable for any viewers to assume I have somehow hacked the chess.com algorithms so that chess.com only feeds me weaker random enemies. Because how can I be this much better than every enemy I play? I don't know. It's about to get ugly. But really, this is truly random. I don't have any ties with chess.com at this point in my chess career. I'm just this much better than every enemy that comes on my podcast. That's a good plan. Oh, you should have went with your bishop because now you're toast. But had you went with your bishop, you might not have been toast. You didn't surrender. I don't get to wave this flag. And that's the only unhappy thing about this week's ass kicking. Let's see what would have happened had enemy threw his bishop in there. So enemy goes bishop instead of rook. Now I've got to defend a check. I probably defend with my bishop. Or just slide. No, I'd probably slide up. Slide up. No, if he would have used his bishop instead of enemy rook to come at me there. And there's a chance enemy might have pulled off an upset. But we're all human and we all make mistakes. It just so happens that enemies seem to be making more mistakes than myself based on my podcast. All right. As I mentioned, the music is going to start being phased out so I can pursue my number one passion, which is what you just saw the last 10 minutes. But I like Coldplay and I love this song. So this is really more geared for the enemy when I think about the lyrics, because I play chess because it makes me happy. And I play chess even when I'm feeling great about life and I have no anxiety or depression going on. I just play chess because I love it. I play music oftentimes when I'm feeling depressed or going through a stressful event in my life. It's complicated how I decide when I do my weekly planning every Sunday, how much time in the coming week I'd like to allocate toward chess versus music. So I'll just summarize how I decide how much time goes into chess practice versus music. And that's a pretty common cliche quote, which is, I sing to survive, but I play chess to thrive. That was deep.
When you try your best but you don't succeed, when you get what you want but not what you need, when you feel so tired but you can't sleep, stuck in reverse, and the tears come streaming down your face.
The enemy's face, actually, Coldplay.
When you love something you can't replace, when you love someone but it goes to waste, could it be worse?
Yeah, he could have resigned.
Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. High up above and down below, when you're too in love to let it go. But if you never try, you'll never know just what you hurt. Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. To be for
counting to 4. That's all dancing is too. Don't overcomplicate it.
2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Tears stream down your face when you love something you cannot replace. Tears stream down your face, and tears stream down your face. I promise you I will learn from my mistakes.
As you saw, I don't believe I had any.
Tears stream down your face, and lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.
Good luck, Coldplay. People a lot more qualified in the field of mental health have tried to fix me before you, and they've only had some success. This was a shorter episode, and I prefer slightly less competent enemies to compete against on my podcast versus when I'm practicing in complete isolation. So I can really think on how I can best deliver my message versus how to crush my enemy's dreams. But I don't prefer enemies be quite as incompetent as the enemy you just witnessed me defeat. So in future podcasts, you can expect for me to either schedule a game against an enemy I know is a little bit stronger, but not as strong as me. Or I might see if I can persuade a friend to come and make my moves while I play blindfold chess. Just like Magnus would have to play blindfold chess against me for me to even begin to get any type of opportunity against Magnus. Enemies need all the help they can get. So blindfold chess it is. I love High School Musical. It's just a great overall show. The vocals are incredible. So I haven't really practiced this, but I've got my DGT smartboard set up, as you can see. And I've made a commitment to really thoroughly study, memorize, and be able to apply one new chess opening each week for the rest of my life. I don't like a lot of young kids today are being taught in an environment which encourages rushing to solutions without having the resources or information to really do a good job. To do anything well, really takes a lot of time, which is why I'm not learning 20 different openings this week. I'm learning the Sicilian defense exceptionally well Monday, which is today. I'm learning the basic Sicilian defense, and the open Sicilian. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll move into the variations, which there are 4 that I'm familiar with, 4 variations of the open Sicilian defense. Thursday, I will allocate my time to analyzing the closed, or not the closed, the anti-Sicilian concepts, which essentially is E4, C5 is played, but it leads to a lot less open and complex positions, which would be a little bit more constructive for me at this level because the Sicilian defense can get complicated. And that's why I staged the anti-Sicilian study session for Thursday, because Nova will be at daycare. And as much as I love Nova, I analyze better when she's not barking. And then Friday is a rest day where I let my brain rest, and I don't make any commitment to chess. It's the only day of the week where if I don't play any chess at all, it's okay. But I'll probably still play just out of enjoyment. As I mentioned, the High School Musical idea. So let's see if this works. Come on, hey, wake up, wake up. Come on. It's bad timing for you to not work, smartboard. There you go. Aha. Na, 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 na. Work with me. Come on now. There you go. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 yeah. You are the music in me. Na, 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 na. D6. Na, 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 yeah. D6 was played on the board. It did not reflect. I got to talk to chess.com. You are the music in me. C4 it is. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 yeah. Or D4. C takes D4. You are the music in me. Stupid thing. When I hear my favorite song, I know that we belong. Night takes. You are the music in me. And I just combined 2 of my favorite things, which is High School Musical and the open Sicilian. If heaven existed on earth during a pandemic, combining High School Musical and chess is about as close as you can get. You guys have a good week.